Hi, and welcome to our ride along the Minnesota River Bottoms Fat Tire Trail here in the snow in Minnesota on a nice December day. Join Tom, Gary, Drew, and myself as we ride along 6 miles of this trail, and then we'll turn around at the Cedar Bridge and turn back and come back to our starting point here in Mendota Heights at the old Sibley House location, the historic house. After going under the railroad tracks here, we go along the Minnesota River, and the first part is under the Mendota Bridge here, and it has a lot of streams that sort of come off the side of the cliffs here, and they can be icy and kind of fun to jump across. As you can notice, we hit a beautiful day. It was supposed to be cloudy all day, but cleared up for parts of our ride, and we just had some beautiful scenery and a nice and warm, even though it was 24 degrees. Felt warmer than that, so we really enjoyed the ride. Here we are, we come along the Minnesota River here, get along right along the edge. There's a few drop-offs, but it's not too bad. Gary in the lead here, just taking us along the edge of the river. We're about probably 2 miles upstream from the confluence with the Mississippi River. On the other side of the river is the Fort Snelling State Park. And also further down there on that other side would be the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. You can usually see planes coming over and landing as you're riding along this river ride. There's a few branches down, and with the snow kind of made them easier to go over, so we just went over the branches instead of going around like we usually do. This is probably the trickiest part of the ride. Going this direction upstream, it's not too bad. Gary didn't have enough speed there, but I was able to make it up through this section without having to push or get off my bike. Going back the other way though, it's definitely a get off your bike and walk it. Here we are again along the Minnesota River. This is a beautiful section that I always enjoy. You can see the river is almost frozen over, not quite all the way, but getting close. Had a few cold days the week before. Here's Drew coming along on his bike. And now Tom comes back along to join us here. Always fun on the fat tire when your back tires kind of move back and forth on you. We are at one of the many bridges that you start encountering going upstream here. This is the first bridge that we encountered. There will be several others as we go along our way to the Cedar Avenue Bridge. You see lots of walkers and other bikers. There's another one of the bridges as Tom and Drew go over it. But you'll encounter walkers and other bikers. It's a pretty popular trail along here on the Minnesota River. Here we're getting close to the bridge, the Cedar Bridge. Probably about another half mile or so to go to the bridge. On our way back, now that we took a little rest at the Cedar Avenue Bridge and headed back, you can see some walkers down there ahead of Gary as we move our way through this first part of the trail on the way downstream back to Mendota Heights. Fairly pedestrian part of the trail, pretty easy, pretty wide. Here we are getting back to the bridges here. We have 2 bridges in a row that we'll go over. The another biker coming the other way. We encountered a fair amount of bikers, even though it was a Tuesday afternoon.
Part of the trail gets a little more interesting now. You start weaving your way back through the trees and along the riverbank. A little more scenic, a little more interesting for riding. Here we are at the second bridge, and I think there's about 2 or 3 other bridges to go. This area is a big wetlands area in the summer, so watch your head here on the different branches. Make sure you don't hit your head or hit your GoPro. These people kind of caught us by surprise. We really didn't see them because they were behind the tree there with their dog. And we had to get off the trail out of the way pretty quickly. It's a single track through a lot of this area. Jump here that we didn't do on the way out. We tried it. It was a little more abrupt on the backside than we thought, but everybody was safe and made it. Here we're coming up on the 494 bridge. You go under this, the freeway bridge, the Interstate Bridge, during this ride. Through coming to the 494 bridge here. Nice and clear at this point. Heading downstream from the 494 bridge, getting close to the International Airport and Fort Snelling State Park again on the other side of the river. You see we all have our handlebar covers for our hands to keep our hands warm. Actually mine got pretty sweaty. It was almost too warm with those on. Here, setting the pace, winding our way through the trees and a little bit of rutted trail. Overall, the trail was in very good shape, did not have too many problems. Occasionally your tire would catch a rut and move you out, but no problems. And on this trail, it's very typical to see a plane like this just coming in for a landing. It's almost like they're right on top of you. You can reach out and touch them. They're pretty low because the runways are just across the river there. This section here is the one that's a little bit tenuous, a little bit drop off there, but overall not too bad. There's an alternative route a little bit to the right there that you can take if you're not comfortable with it. There it comes back, the alternative route joining in. We go over this creek. I'm not sure which creek this is. There's a lot of wetlands that kind of join and come together here, but this one's obviously flowing into the river at this point. Drew, as we get close to the Mendota Bridge here, our last section of the trail, going under the bridge here, the Mendota Bridge, and going over the little streams that are along the way. Kind of a fun section of the trail, kind of jumping over the streams. Had a bunch of birds here. I think they were robins, but they started coming out of the bushes here and off the stream. I think they were gathered around here to get some water from the different streams and stuff, but you can see them scattering as I ride along. See more hikers coming at me here. This section of the trail, pretty close to the parking lot. Heading on back under the railroad tracks and back to the parking area at the Sibley House historical site.
off to the right there, the Sibley House and other houses of a historical site in Mendota Heights. It was a nice ride. Like I said, it's about 12 miles, maybe just a touch over 12. It's very flat, not much elevation gain one way or another. It's a beautiful trail in the when there's snow and when there isn't snow. So thank you for watching our trip today, and if you liked it, like it. Take care.